Cool. So here we are. It's Friday. Good morning to you, wherever you may be in the world. Normally we talk about future of work, and obviously we're going to continue that conversation. I am keen. The conversation we had last week I thought was really good. It's just shame Nick, Senya and co can't be here today. So I'm inclined to say bench that for the time being until we can have a bit of a wider audience for that. And we can talk about a few other bits and pieces instead. Key things that are going on at the moment, obviously you guys are aware of what's going on with the dApps. Obviously you were part of those sessions last week. So in terms of next week, what's going to happen is rather than doing the sort of closed session in the morning and then the open session in the afternoon, we're actually just going to hold an open session in the morning and an open session in the afternoon. So each day we'll have two dApps. So I think it is mint and auction on Tuesday, same times as last before. So that's 10 a.m. UTC and I want to say 12:45 UTC for the second part. And then on the Wednesday, it will be the same thing again, but it will be bank and yield on those days. Yeah, that's what's going to be coming up for next week in terms of the dApp review. So that's going to continue. And then obviously we've got it's closer to maybe a 10-week period to execute a lot of it. It's going to be a really busy period of time over the next 10 weeks or so. And yeah, we'll find as many ways as possible to get everybody who wants to be involved in what's going on. So does anybody have any questions on that quickly before we move on?
Can you just repeat the days for each dApp?
It's also going to come out in the program, but it's Tuesday and Wednesday. Cool. So Tuesday is auction and mint, and Wednesday will be bank and yield.
I have a quick question. That Airtable, is it almost finalized in public? We could just share it with people if they want to. Because I checked all the sessions for the dApps next week are there, so we could just share that as well as the flyers, right?
Yeah, I'm just making some final adjustments on the Airtable, and then I'll be ready to share it. But with that, if you want to change that system, no problem. You go ahead and create whatever system that is you want to create, and you can manage that.
I didn't want to bike shed. Let's just use that. And if we want to onboard more people to contribute to it, and we see that there's a learning curve and they don't want to learn Airtable or they're slow like me, then we can just move it to a spreadsheet. But for now, it looks good, I think.
I'll let you figure out what you want to do. If you want to create a new process and tools, then go for it. But we can create forms with Airtable, super easy, like we did with the Imagine DAOs. So if someone wants to suggest a session, they can just fill out a form saying, I'd like to do something at this time, on this date, about this topic, in this channel, and this is the information. And then
so they don't have to, everyone doesn't have to edit the thing. We can have some kind of suggestion process. Okay, cool. I don't want to sidetrack this session, but yeah, right now I'm happy with where we are with the Airtable.
Cool. So future, what do we normally talk about? There's a variety of different things. So obviously we've been working pretty furiously. We pulled up a little bit on it over the last few weeks with regards to the Discord and what we're thinking about with the new Discord. There is going to be some changes to this one in terms of how it's going to work and what we're going to do. The other thing we tend to do a lot of here as well is just talk about different skills people have and how they may feel they may be able to contribute to the DAO in different areas. And I'm going to do a bit of a call to action to you guys, but also to anyone listening to this afterwards. But I'm going to put some stuff out into the general chat as well. Propaganda. Basically, we're building mechanisms to create and disseminate viral content is the essential raison d'etre of what we're doing there. The initial goals are really simple for us. We're just trying to knock off the low-hanging fruit, which is things like really get a structure on the monthly and weekly newsletter, which I think we've landed on now. So I feel pretty comfortable with that. Then it's about getting that out to as many people as possible and owning one or two social media platforms. And we're going to run different experiments. So we're going to run experiments with Twitter. And I think we're going to run an experiment which sounds a bit weird, but I think it could be an interesting use of some of the snips we have. So we have this tool called Descript, which basically runs like a transcription service on the back end of our video. So when we create a video, we can transcribe that into whatever language, and then we can basically create cuts from that. And we're going to be getting that out onto like a variety of different platforms. And I think initially, because TikTok's short form, relatively easy and low overhead in terms of getting up and running, it's not like writing a blog or anything like that. It's 3-minute videos, and we have those things in abundance. So that's what we're going to be. So if anybody here has like particular skills with regards to, say, different social media platforms or insights, like I said, TikTok and Twitter probably going to be an initial focus because it's short form and easy, and then we'll work into longer form stuff over time. Yeah, please feel free to ask. Or please feel free to put your hand up if you do, or if you know anyone that you think might be interested in helping with that or something, feel free to refer them to us. I'm going to continue talking, and if someone's got anything they want to say, please just chime up. Like, there's no rules or anything. But did everyone see what I did with regards to the Quad Squad channel?
I think I understand what you did, which was to create a link so that you can easily retweet and like the tweets from that channel itself.
Exactly. Have you used it at all?
I tried. I liked a couple of tweets, and it keeps on sending me private messages that I can delete from the flow so that it keeps the channel. Whenever I like something, it says, "Oh, you've liked this," but it says this message can only be seen by you. So I had to delete. I just delete those messages to keep things clean on the channel itself.
Ah, got you. Okay. That's, I suppose, it's the bot letting you've done something, in case, I suppose, there's a bad actor that's doing something on your behalf that you don't know about. Like there's a bot that's hacked you or something, or you're not a bot. But
yeah, I think that's fine. I don't mind having to delete that. It's nice to have the feedback and to know what's happened.
Yeah. Is everybody else aware of what I'm talking about here?
So, no.
Yes, I signed up for the 3 clicks.
Yes,
For
cool.
tweet.
Okay, cool. What we're thinking is, as part of the, I'm not sure if everyone got to read the email, but there's obviously part of the quarterly FET governance airdrop, which is a classification called word spreader. In the word spreader allocation, basically that's for people who have put the ballot box in their Twitter handle. We're going to ever so slightly change how that's going to work. And what we're going to do is basically, for the people who engage the most in those tweets, so liking and retweeting the finance.vote tweets, which is, it's not many. It's not like a highly active account at the moment. We're going to change that. But it's basically the more you engage in that, the more it'll increase your allocation in the word spreader classification of the airdrop. So it's this, I think it will be a positive feedback loop, and it's like relatively low friction stuff. You don't need to type anything. You don't need to do anything. You just set it up and then click and you're away, basically. How does that system seem to everybody? I'm curious if you've used it, if you haven't used it. If you haven't used it, is it just because of time or anything else?
I need to check it out, but as soon as I do, I'll give you some feedback on it.
I have a question. So to be a part of this bounty, right, or the airdrop, do we expect the accounts to retweet everything or just something that people like? Because, for instance, right now the Twitter is like right now it's less than 3 tweets a day. But to my knowledge, I don't know, maybe we want to do more, but we want to keep it like between 3 and 5 tweets a day maximum. So we don't expect people with like small accounts to retweet 5 tweets a day if we do 5, right? So it can be 1, or it can be something that is not every day. Can you say something about this?
Yeah, I'll say it again.
Sorry, I must have missed it. You already said that. So
Yeah, no. What I was saying is, depending on the more you engage with it, the more you like and relike tweets, the larger your allocation in the word spreader will be.
Oh, sorry, I just completely missed it.
No worries. Yeah, the more you retweet, basically, because the more you engage with the tool, so the more you like and retweet things, then the higher allocation in the word spreader will be, which is like what it is now. Word spreader right now is each day you have to retweet 3 times or something. You have to do like it's a 3-peat thing. So you got to like comment, retweet, or whatever 3 times in a day, and you copy and paste that into the channel. This is, I think this is a better replacement of that system. It's less friction, and you don't have to do 3 times. You can do 1 if you want. And that will just, it's like a sliding percentage thing.
Is it just, or is it comment, like, and retweet?
It's up to, yeah, again, the more you do, so you don't have to do both. You could just do likes. But again, it's just a percentage thing. It's okay, so Fab's liked 10% of the post and he retweeted 5% of the post. So there's like an aggregated percentage there. Whereas if you make sense. Any other questions on that?
Did you say something about retweet with comment or and I missed it, or can you say something about that?
Yeah, no, if you guys are in Twitter now, if you actually go to the Quad Squad channel, you'll see what I'm talking about. It might be easy for you to see it because you don't have to do anything. All you got to do is literally press the button, click and click. There's no typing. Once you've logged into the tool, once you've like set it up, it's 3 clicks. And then all you have to do is or retweet.
So there is no option retweet with comment that you have to do manually. Okay, no. That's what I wanted to ask.
Any other questions? Okay. One of the things I think someone mentioned the other day about our Discord, that someone that came in, and I think this is important for whatever the future of the new Discord looks like, and whatever this Discord looks like now, is that what we don't have at the moment are pinned messages at the top of each channel, clearly explaining what the channels. I think of this server as our place of work because it's relatively calm. Well, no, it is calm. It's quite focused. It's quite intellectual. It's quite philosophical. But it's probably, if you're a new person coming in, it's probably easy to get lost. So I wanted to get your guys' opinions on doing that. creating, comments for pinning at the top, and B, whether the names of the channels actually make sense as well. Ksenia, I don't know what you think about this.
So in my experience, there is, even though I didn't manage Discord servers before, mostly like Telegram groups and the Slacks in early days, what I realized, it's like infinite demand. You can never finish it. It's great to have pinned messages in each channel, and I was failing to do that actually, because you actually have to sit down and just write each of them. But then what happens that you have to update them all the time because they actually get dated pretty fast. So I was thinking, first of all, it would be super cool to have more people, maybe Sherpas and maybe some kind of a bounty thing for actually doing it, because to write a good pinned message, it takes me some time, because it's like you collect all the links, you think about what you write, how to make it really easy. Raga has a ton more of experience with that because he actually managed Discord channels, Discord servers. And yeah, maybe I'd like to hear what he says about it. If we, long story short, if we could do it collaboratively, I guess I just want to say I need help. I need help someone writing these pinned messages and updating them.
And then Raga, because I know you want to hear his opinion, but this is, I know, but I don't want to speak on Raga, but it just popped into my head because I listen in the server where you say that Discord is maybe not the place forever home. So maybe we don't invest pinned messages of the workspace, if this is a workspace, into the Discord, but maybe like a Miro board or something that can be fluid, that the team can adjust as time goes, but it's almost like ties into the onboarding place because it's a place you can direct people.
You mean having a map of Discord but outside Discord?
Yes, because we don't trust Discord to some degree, and why invest in the house that you're not going to live in forever? So if we invest in more of the FET piece of let's talk about the structure and write it down, but let's not bother ourselves with the nuisance of pinning messages in Discord, because in my experience, see that there's a lot of people, and we're all intelligent, we are respectful in our work, but there's a lot of people that show up and just say, where's this? And you're like, check the pin. And they're like, still, where is it? Check the pin. So maybe housing outside of Discord. And we could even direct people to this and say, here is what all the channels are, and here's the process there. And it could be a collaborative tool for everyone that has different channels in the Discord. So it's not just on you, Ksenia, either. It's on anyone that has a department in FET.
I have to say that, just a little interjection, that we probably will end up with Discord, even though I criticize it for being just a centralized company, we're probably going to end up with it for a while. Even though we might have some other homes, more experimental. So I'm still thinking that it's probably a good idea to have pins, but yeah. Anyway, I think we could do a bit of both, having a mapping of some sort. For instance, even describing our departments, quote unquote, right now, and corresponding channels would be a cool thing. It could be a Miro bot saying, okay, this is a brief map of what is now. Yeah.
This kind of goes back to the writing exercises, because let's say I'm just using the term, I know it's a DAO, but the department heads, the department people that are in it the most, could write on this Miro board, write the links they want, place what they want, and then as the more administrative, putting them in the Discord. That way you get help on writing the pins.
So if I may, there's a couple things. First, my experience with Discord is something that I'm building on. I went from barely using Discord to over the last month working on a kind of a proposal for what the server could look like. So I don't come from a place of like expertise, but I'm building expertise as I go along. But a couple things that are already clear to me. First is Discord is not really the kind of great solution for some of the things that we want in terms of onboarding people and making some information knowledge. It's more of a chat room function. So taking a step back, I'm very eager to see what's going to happen with the new website, and hopefully that's a place where a lot of the onboarding can happen. Because when we're looking at Discord, there's a balance. So one of the first iterations that we did for what the Discord server could look like was having like a resource channel for kind of every bit of information that we thought was necessary. So the idea is that we're giving people out quests, and these quests are helping you learn the things you need to learn. But then what happens is that you start getting a really polluted left side there of just all these channels. So then it's okay, let's reduce that. And once you reduce that, instead of being able even just to pin a comment, and now you can pin a comment that literally will just have links for you to go get that information somewhere else. So where is that somewhere else?
This is what it is always. Sorry for interrupting. In all the servers, there's an illusion that you can go and tidy it up and just going to be nice and clean and everyone understands where things are. But it's actually, it's an illusion. You just end up always like updating these pins and putting more links, and it's just the reality of it.
Yeah, some things you can clean up. The idea on the server is that you go through levels, and on each level you're doing some quests, and that the board will open according to your preferences and to where you are in the journey. And that helps the journey for people like me that joined, that was new to the crypto world. And for those that are more experts, they'll be able to breeze through these levels until they get to the one that makes sense for them. But this is the balance. You don't want to create too many channels where you can put like fixed static information. So you end up having to use these links. Thanks. So the question really is, where does the community want this second kind of home for information to be? If it's going to be the new website, if it's going to be Airtable, if it's going to be some spreadsheet, and for each little DAO, as they're developing work and collaborating, each one's coming up with a different solution, which I think is fine. But I think this is a question that as a community we need to figure out, and then it will be easier for us to organize the Discord to push people towards where the information.
What you're saying is that we pretty much, when we try to use Discord as a knowledge base, we shoot ourselves in the foot because it's just not designed for this. So it would be more, it would make more sense to have something like, okay, I'm not saying that because it's not open source, having something like Notion space, or having something like a wiki.
I think it's less a wiki and more a Git.
But then does it mean that we all need to use Git, including like people who maybe not?
No, I think there's better solutions than that, but I think Git as structure. So Git is the underlying base structure, and then you have a front end which is like normal for normal people.
I'm just not familiar with the tool that works.
You just build it. You build the front end. You just build that in React.
You mean build something? We discussed this briefly. So there is a plan to build something like Git that looks like a form or like a spreadsheet or like a document in the front end.
Yeah. So there's a plan to build on the back end of Git. So it's like repository, knowledge base. You can tag things with like semantic ballots. You can do all that kind of good stuff. And then on the front end, you would have.
Sorry, now it all comes together because I connected the dots. So what we're talking about when we talk about proposal.vote.
No, that's different. Yeah, they'll link eventually, but And what I'm talking about is you come to the finance.vote website, you connect your wallet, it takes you into, okay, this is your position in FVT. This is what's going on today. These are mentions for you in the Discord. These are your yield positions. These are your mint.vote distributions. These are, do you know what I mean? So there's like this. And then if you need to find information, cool, you go to the knowledge base, you can search for tags, you can search for key things. We can actually like store conversations. So because there's some really cool, really important conversations that have happened, but they're lost to the ashes of time of scrolling up in Discord. You need to be able to capture those things into something. So again, into the knowledge base, and you build this all on Git, like this knowledge capture piece. And then on the front end, it's just like a website that has Web3 options.
So when we're talking about pinned messages in Discord, we're talking about some temporary solution to just reduce chaos temporarily.
Yes.
Okay. Now it makes
I
sense.
don't think it needs to be like, I didn't interject earlier on because I wanted to hear what you guys had to say, but I don't think it needs to be like OTT detailed. It could just be a description of the channel. This is what goes on here, like a one sentence, basically, just a bit of insight. I don't think, because I think you're right, like both you and NFTA are right. It ends up becoming this, like, it's a full-time job, updating links and updating posts and redoing things and doing all of this.
And it's also this kind of job that kind of prevents you from doing anything else. There's this makers and managers. If you want to like read about DAOs and learn stuff and write posts, and you start doing this job of updating links and pinned messages, you just can't do it. You just end up. It's a bit like babysitting. You just can't do anything else. It's just, you get totally distracted if you just do this. Anyway, I'm just ranting, but yeah. So maybe when
we're talking about these temporary kind of solutions, right? So small pins. I still think it's useful for us to also choose some temporary tools if it's Notion, because all these things that are going to take some development. It's a big question mark when they will be ready. So if every project is using a different tool, your ability to be able to jump in on different projects and help, there's now barriers, right? Like you need to learn like 10 different little software or whatever people are using. So I think it'd be nice if, okay, we as a community, we say, guys, in the meantime, let's use Notion, or let's use the Google spreadsheets, or whatever it is for people to.
In all communities I took part, like pre-DAO, the most difficult and like painful conversations were about what tools do we use, because everyone comes with their own favorite tools that they used to, and then you end up with a tool hell. And like,
but isn't that the beauty of quadratic voting? You can put the tools up, and
we could do a quadratic vote on it. I'm just like, I came the full circle saying first I would spend like days trying to, like, I'm still a bit like this. I can push the tools I like for my own reasons, not because they're good or because I'm used to them, but because I think they're in like spiritually aligned with DAOs and decentralization. But anyway, long story short, I came the full circle and realized that it's okay to allow different groups to in the community to use the tools they want, even sometimes it's redundant and messy, and rely on greeters and sharpers to actually take people around. But maybe I'm naive, but it's almost like, even if you organize signage, so to say, really, I imagine this festival where people just writing signs like toilets are there. Here's, I don't know, some kind of a strange art thing. And even if the signage and the flyers are really good, you still like burner events have greeters. And any kind of event, like you come and someone already knows their way around, so they take you around, because it's impossible to, even with really good documentation, it's still impossible to navigate. So it's a balance of both. Maybe this sort of Sherpa effort plus some documentation plus some tools that we're probably gonna end.
I like that. Hearing everything and where we're going. So Discord is temporary but not temporary. We should invest in it. An idea instead of a pinned message is, what about using the channel topics? Actually, like, I know it's going to take a little bit, but writing 2 to 3 sentences per channel. And that way when we direct people there, we can tell everyone, no matter what, you swipe to the right and you can read a baseline of the channel. and then have a Meta Sherpa help you too and have somebody help you. But I think we wrote in the channels too, we could tie that into the onboarding effort. And then also the map could be tied to the onboarding effort, because especially where if there's a player at level 1 and they get stuck on something and we're trying to get them somewhere, we'll need that side map. This is me volunteering too to write those channel descriptions. 3-day weekend, so maybe Google Sheets, and I'll just take each name, write what I think it is, if that's okay, and then we can go from there.
Amazing.
Yeah, you should really come see the kind of template we're working on, and then you might have some extra ideas on that as well.
Yeah, I've been interested in the onboarding stuff.
Should we just... Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, NFT, go ahead.
Oh no, it's okay. It's just part of the onboarding stuff. It comes back to this conversation. It's part of the navigation. I turned off all my Discord notifications, so I don't know when I'm like, unless I'm called, I'm like, oh, I don't belong here. So it's my effort. I need to come to the onboarding section and see that all the hard work you guys did. And
no, I totally get it. I only have @me mentions. I don't have any role mentions on any server. So when my Discord beeps, I know it's actually for me. I think that's a really good hack for everybody if you haven't done that already. Okay, so just to round that out then, I think we're on the same page, and I'm going to repeat back what I've heard. Please tell me if I got this wrong or right. We are, so Amanda will take a look at the descriptions. I think that's a good idea. That's a really good start, but at least maybe that is fundamentally better than pinned messages, because you do see that straight away at the top. Pinned messages often just get missed. And if you have more than one pinned message, then you're in trouble, because no one ever scrolls up on those things, I don't think. In terms of the tools we're going to use, people are allowed, different sections of the DAO are allowed to use their own tools. At the nature of that's decentralized in its own sense, because if one gets rugged, at least another tool will probably be up. There's something to be said about that. In terms of so I'm trying to check my notes. Yeah, did I miss anything actually? I think that's it, right? Oh, Sherpas. Okay, so there's this channel. I saw something else I want to talk to you guys about. There's a channel we created called the Sherpa. I'm going to add all the Sherpas into that. It's going to be a place, your home in the Discord, so to speak. And I suppose that's a place for you guys to coordinate on things. Maybe it'll be your home in the Discord that you guys can feel free to speak in and stuff as well. So I will add you guys all into that. And that is called the Sherpa's Hut. You'll see it when it pops up for you on the left-hand side after this call. In terms of the moving forward piece, I was just thinking, Gus, I know we haven't been going hard at the new Discord, and we're still trying to figure out exactly the nature of what that's going to be. And obviously with these chats this week, it's got pushed back a bit. But do we want to go over then?
We could.
No harm, right? It is what it is. It's just a bare bones, basic sort of structure.
Yeah, the joining process is a bit messed up right now because we're trying different bots for the verification stuff, but the structure is there for sure.
Okay, let's do it, shall we? I'm going to... How can I do this?
If you want, I can just promote everybody that joins and gets them to level 5, so we don't have to go through that joining process, and we can just run everybody through everything.
But this recording will be...
Yeah, the recording's over. There's not much we can do about that. I haven't added the bot to the other Discord. We could do. It won't take me long. Give me 2 seconds. What I'm going to do, though, is anyone who's here, I'm going to invite you to that server. So give me 2 seconds.
I'm really excited for the Meta Sherpa channel. Thanks for that. Maybe proposing that we discuss this map and the descriptions in the Meta Sherpa area. So when I'm done, I can put it there.
Yeah, for sure. That sounds good to me. I think that'd be great. Oh, I actually created the Meta Sherpa's Hut ages ago, and I just completely forgot to get you guys over there. So that's bad on me. Here we go. I'm going to invite, you're going to get invites to FBT Dummy. 2 seconds.
I think it's just Ksenia hasn't joined.
Somehow I can hear you guys. I don't know what I didn't join. Sorry.
No, did you get an invite in your... I invited you to a server.
To another server.
Yeah.
That's why we need Matrix, because it's federated and servers, and you can join the same room from a different server if you want. But anyway, I can shill it later sometime. Just a second. Where do I get this invite? Now I can have it.
Can you invite Ben as well?
So I made everybody that's just joined level 2 so that we can at least get them somewhere. Should I make them level 1 as well, Gus?
Welcome to the FAT DAO. If you want to learn about...
Yeah, sure.
Don't pay too much attention to the text or the content. It's more like the channel structures. And even then, it's
I'm
you know,
not judging. I'm not judging.
this is as basic can be, so there is no judgment to receive.
I have to make a disclaimer. Like, I only slept for a couple of hours, and I'm really dumb today, dumber than usual.
Was your daughter okay?
Yeah. Um, thanks for asking. A parent from a parent. So I'm just trying to. So I joined the server. I guess everyone joined, but I don't see any messages yet.
Yeah, you need to go to I'm not a bot and click the reaction roll.
So ME6 send me a message, a welcome message.
Don't pay too much attention to the kind of things in the beginning. We're playing with different bots and it's all messed up right now.
So the first step is when, I don't know, is everyone in and everyone authorized themselves, like authenticated themselves? Because I'm being completely stupid here.
Lenny, are you in?
When he updated our level, I had to go out to the Me6 bot or to another Discord and then come back to the FBT dummy Discord, and then all the doors open for me. I was looking at it too and I wasn't getting anything, so I went out and came back in. So leave and come back, and let's not this call.
I just did that and I can see things. Because when I first went in and looked at the ME6 message, it was all just blanked out. And now I came in and I can see everything. Or I can see what I can see, not everything.
Yeah, this very first step of when people get invited, the bots are still not talking and working 100%. But
yeah, Me6, Dino, and Discord are all fighting it out to see who introduces you to the server right now.
And the DMs should be open, or it somehow bypasses it, because I think my DMs were closed. Because I remember with Capture we had this horrible thing.
You won't have DMs. You won't have DMs.
So you don't need DMs to authenticate on it?
No.
Okay, that's really cool, because I remember it being like a complete pain in the ass. Because no one in crypto has their DMs open. It's insanity.
Yeah, we just want you to come in, agree to the rules, click a reaction roll that you're not a bot, and off you are to level 1. That's it. It's just we've been trying how to make that flow the nicest way possible. So we're trying around with different bots.
Do you want to walk them through level by level?
Yeah. The idea of level 1, and we're working with a verb for every level. The verb here for level 1 is connect. So this is the idea is that you're going to come in here, you're going to find out how to add yourself to like the YouTube, the calendar, all the stuff that you can add. Brief introduction to what the support channels are. And then you start making some choices here. So if you speak a specific language, you're going to go to preferences, click a reaction roll to that language, and the board will open for that language. And it will also have an interest in that preference. So if you're interested in art, then the Art.DAO board will also open up. So it's a way to like less things come up and only open up things that are in your interest. And then the idea is that you go through all these simple steps of connecting, and if you don't know about Discord, you'll be able to get some information on how to use Discord as well. And then you take a simple quiz, because at this point there isn't a whole lot. You've introduced yourself and said hello. We were thinking of offering people a template to help them do that, and you've said good morning and you're done with level 1. So I don't know if you guys can see the level 2. Fab, did you put people at level 2?
Everybody's level 1. I can upgrade them to level 2 now if you want.
Before we do that, any questions or comments?
Oh, yes, of course.
I was just super confused because first I saw everything, and I think because you're manually putting people in different levels, then I stopped seeing things. So I think I will come back to it and try to figure it out again.
Yeah, we can give you the admin, and then later you can just switch yourself through the roles to see how the board opens. But the idea is that the board...
Isn't it better if I'm not an admin if I want to actually...
yeah, it's best if you just do it manually.
It's better not to be an admin. I actually have a non-admin dummy account in our Discord to actually take a look at what it looks like to a non-admin.
Yeah, so questions, feedback about this first level?
Feedback, I like it.
Why do we have an FET dummy?
Yeah, so we're basically, so there's two things at play. There's kind of like two options on the table at the moment. We're thinking is, do we redesign the server and basically create a way of making it more open up to people in an easier fashion? How do we get people into a position where they feel comfortable and confident in taking on tasks and working with the DAO? Because that's the main thing. Is the long-term goal of the DAO is to get as many contributors as possible, all working towards the longevity of the DAO, right, in different ways. And that longevity of the DAO obviously benefits the contributors, right? So it's this kind of like symbiotic relationship thing going on. So this server is either going to be a potential kind of replacement for our server. So we would not like start all over again. We would change the channels around in the existing server to match what we built here and all the roles accordingly. Or B, we've got this other sort of thing in mind, potential. There's these two options, and that is that we keep the current server as it is, and we keep that as our sort of reflection and learning server. Like, think of it as a reflection service, like a philosophical reflection type place, like it is what it is right now. And then we have this new server, which is this place for people to come into the DAO, to start to get acquainted with what the DAO is, to get acquainted to the technology, to get acquainted to FET, and then basically work their way through like this gamification process by doing different quests and essentially upskilling themselves at the same time, and then putting themselves in a position where they can either do work and basically take on beginner tasks, intermediate tasks, advanced tasks, and then progress into something like, oh, do you know what? I really want to go and build a DApp on top of FET tech, so I'm going to apply for a grant. Or I really want to become a DAO leader and I want to progress in that direction. So they might come and join our server. So our server would become NFT gated, and it would be for citizens only and sort of community we've got now. And then this server would be, this is how you could earn your position in FET if you want to go through that way. And then you
So
can
it's a test server. It's a test server for the case where we really need to scale a community, and as it is now, it won't work, right?
Correct, exactly. And then if you think of a current server as being reflective, then this server as being sort of the work in like a onboarding type workplace. So if we're scaling at like big numbers, how are we going to manage that? And this is the sort of solution to that. And then Tribes DAO is like a play area, if that makes sense. So there's like work, play, reflect is the kind of.
I'm even thinking that the reflection server, the small community, that like the original server that is messy and the Sherpas take you around and there is barely any automation. I can imagine that we could actually migrate that to Matrix and to something like really cool and decentralized and maybe a little bit ugly. And then we could have, like when we used to have Telegram for everyone to come and to figure out, and then people started trickling down to Discord. So we could have this server with a lot of automation and all the quests and gamification stuff that kind of scales, but a little bit dehumanizing in the beginning. And then we could have like another place for people who trickle down, because some people would just come and buy some tokens and then flip them and flip out and run away. It's crypto, right? Some people won't stay. So this is how I understand this project. So theoretically, we could even archive the original server and recreate it in a cooler platform that we actually own. But I'm thinking not this year, maybe next year or something, because it's a lot of work.
Yeah, definitely. There's options with it. Yeah, something like that could definitely be in play. I think probably will be in play. We could get rugged by Discord at any moment. That's a reality. But if they rug that, then they rug everything, like all the servers, Tribes DAO, this, FET,
yeah,
everything.
It will be weird. It will be weird. But it's like having, as I see this server that you guys building, it's almost like Telegram used to be. It's like when we have, hopefully we have more people joining, if our like marketing and outreach efforts are up, we end up with a lot of people. For instance, right now I can individually talk to people who started posting some stupid marketing proposals and be polite to them. And then it can happen that we will have to ban people, like manually. It would be impossible. Like it will be a war out there. So it's cool to have some automated stuff with quests.
Yeah, so if you think of this service like a meritocracy, Like if you want to earn your position in FVT, you don't want to buy any tokens, you can't afford to, whatever your situation is, and you want to get paid in some tokens. This is how you do it. This is the server you come to. You come and you contribute in your way. Our server is you've bought your way in, like you've bought an ID. So you're committing to the project. It's not that buying an ID is not the same as flipping tokens. You may get to a point where the ID becomes so valuable that maybe it becomes a thing. But even then, those people aren't going to come and join the Discord. They're just going to buy and sell IDs. They're not going to come. They're not coming for the community. They're coming for flipping. Whereas if you bought your way into what we're doing because you believe in the vision and you believe in the tools and stuff, then you belong in the other server. But you can get to the other server from here as well. Like you don't have. So you can essentially get promoted from this server to the other server.
Yeah, sure.
Let's not spend too much time on this part of the split server or not, because that decision hasn't been made. I think the real value here is to just show you the structure of where we're at so far and get some feedback on that. And then depending on if there is a split and why there is a split, then this will need to be worked out. Like we have up to 5 levels right now. Maybe level 5 is the other server already. Maybe it's level 3. But we can't really answer those questions until we decide that we are and why we are doing it. So I don't know if we want to spend too much time talking about these potential outcomes.
Yeah, you're right. But the last question I wanted to ask, if we want to implement like your structure with levels right now on the old server, would that affect? I'm just trying to understand how much chaos it's going to cause in terms of all of a sudden people who are already there would need to be all manually updated to certain levels. You know what I mean? For instance, if all of a sudden we implement all this 5-level stuff and we have a bunch of sentients and some are Sherpas, so we're gonna, long story short, I'm really rambling today. Long story short, we're gonna have a clash. So we either have to completely get it to 0 and say, okay, sorry guys, you all have to do quests because we can't be bothered to update everyone manually, or we will just need to do it manually as admins. Take everyone and actually upgrade them.
In terms of role structures, the level 1 through 5 is the only ones that kind of, when you move to the next level, you lose the previous roles. Every other role is just an add-on. So if you're a Sherpa, that's going to be an add-on role. And so I don't think there'll be that much conflict in terms of other roles outside the level 1 through 5. But you're right in the sense that where does each user belong in the level 1 through 5 structure? That is something. We did start with another dummy server working on what the merge of this structure with the existing structure would look like. But then we started getting feedback and a lot of things started to change. So we decided to hold on that until we get as much feedback as we can on this structure. And once we have that and everyone's happy with this minimum viable product, we'll go back to the exercise of, again, in the test server, putting together what that merge would look like. And then we'll get feedback on that. And then we could talk about actually merging if we decide to go down that route and not create a separate server.
It's really an interesting decision because the merge, like knowing Discord, the merge of these different role structures and level ups could be such a mess, or it could be actually very smooth.
I think we can make it quite smooth, but it's not, we don't need to talk about that now, but I think actually we can just make some blanket decisions on that. You create anyone that's in the existing server, and this will be the last point on this, and we're not going to take us through the levels, but all we do, basically anyone that's at X level, anyone that's in the Discord server that's a sentient, obviously we just put them at a certain level straight away. They don't have to grind. And then anyone that's at a citizen, they get to a certain level, they don't have to grind. It's basically the new people that are coming in have a different experience. But the existing people, we can just add them all to new roles, delete all the old, add them to a specific role, fine, and then just delete all the old role classifications, fine. And then what we might need to do is say, everyone just go and self-select your interests, right? So you just go, here's a post, select which interests are for you, whether that's art, data, whatever, and then that will add those to their people. There will be some people that won't do that and they'll ask us questions and that'll be fine, but we can actually get it done for most people relatively straightforward. It's a non-issue really, I think. But Gus, go ahead.
Okay, cool. So first, Matt, thank you for for taking that step back, because sometimes we get so stuck in the project, we forget to go over again the general purpose of this. So the general purpose for this is to create a road for people like me that is very new to the crypto world, but can add to the project. And if we create, this is the path that requires more work, because if you already have crypto experience, then you can walk through this path quite easily. So by choosing, let's say, a Dutch artist that wants to participate, he comes in at the first level, he will select Dutch as his language, he'll select art as his interest, he'll add the calendar, he'll sign up to the Twitter and the YouTube, things like that. So say hello to everybody, take a simple quiz, and now off he goes to level 2. So level 2, the verb here is
do we need to upgrade
learn.
people's levels, or are you doing that?
Fabs, are you on this?
Should I'll do it then? Okay, give me 2 seconds.
Yeah. So while he's doing that, let me just say that the leveling up is something that we're working on. Ultimately, we'd like to be able to get, once you do the quiz, it adds the role of the next level and removes the level you were at, but we've not found that functionality just yet. We did find a way that you can type a command that does that, but the person would have to do it. So we're still working around like the logistics of it.
Have we lost is everyone still here? Who's still in the server? Lenny, you're there? I can't see you in the server. That's really... Okay, I've found you guys now. I found Lenny. You're not. Are you offline? Like you're...
No, this is a thing. You need to have their levels to see them. Like to visualize them on the right side. Just turn on all the levels for you, and you'll see them all.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So the level 2s can't see who the level 1s are?
I'm not sure that's something we want to keep, or even...
Yeah, oh yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, but right now that's the default setup is that.
Cool.
Who's missing? Stan, you can't see level 2, can you? Hey, Jabuk, and can you hear me? I'm not sure if you can speak or not, but I don't think you are. Ben Rama, 2 seconds. Okay, you guys should all be level 2 now.
So then the key verb here for level 2 is learning. And at first we were gonna get people to like do everything on a test server, from creating a wallet and using Faucet and all this kind of good stuff. But then with some feedback, we realized that the tools are not necessarily ready for that. And that we also need to think about how we educate without coming across like we're giving people financial advice or pushing people to use wallets and things. So the verb changed to learning. And essentially it's going to talk about safety, a lot about safety, and set up a wallet. And then you're going to start learning about influence.vote. I think from the data that we've seen already from Fabs on voting, we're probably going to put more stuff here to make sure that people become very familiar with quadratic voting and how to use the influence.vote. At this point, you're also going to be able to select another level of interest, which is the DAO Suites apps. You'll be able to add the channel or the channels that you want to keep up with.
Sorry, Gus, 2 secs. Ksenia's just dropped a message there. If you go to the tech support channel...
I'm level 2 because I see to start your quest.
But you should see more than that, right? No?
Yeah, you should see quest log rules too to start your quest. There's a feedback channel there that won't stay. This is for the feedback for people going through that want to write stuff. And then you're going to have the help with the 3 channels: community, tech, and scam. And then you're going to have a voice channel and some social channels there, the program, preferences, 2 resources, and that I'm not a bot, we'll get rid of it eventually.
But you can't see that, can you, Ksenia? So
I did. I'm not a bot, but just a second. I don't know if I'm actually helping you right now, taking the screenshot, or I'm just sidetracking your...
That is weird, because I made myself a level 2 and I can see it as it should be. So I'm not sure why you can't.
I leave and I come back. I leave and I come back again, see if that helps.
Can everybody else see the level 2 channels?
Actually, now I can see. Now I can see. It's just leaving and coming back.
Yeah, that helps. When we manually change the levels, you need to pop out and pop back in.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Okay. Anyway, onward. Sorry, Gus. Lenny?
Yeah, how do people find the server? Is it that you stand for? Like, how do you find this server?
I don't know if I understand your question, mate.
I think I understood it. It's like the way I understood is we used to have Discord for like team, and then Twitter had, and all our communications have Telegram as the first place people come. So we ended up with all the DJs there, and then Discord was all like mysterious. So the idea is that this server, it's what we're gonna push every time Zebu does some kind of media pushes for us. We put it on. This is the official server, so to say. This is my understanding. So this is how people discover it.
Yeah, essentially to be determined, but yeah.
If let's say we start working, like we worked with some influencers in Shibaku, if we go down this route and we have 300 people joining or 1,000 people joining a day, then it's just going to be messy. So we're going to use this link with all these level ups, and noobs will be joining. So yeah, this is how I understand it, even though I haven't really done much. It's just my interpretation of what you guys doing.
Yeah.
Cool. Sorry, Gus, go ahead.
Okay, awesome. So level 2 is about learning. So people will be exposed to basics in the crypto world. They'll learn about setting up a wallet. If the testing stuff is easy and reliable, we might include that. We're still checking on that part. And then we want people to start attending the onboarding talk. And the idea is that either every week or every other week, there's going to be the onboarding talk. There is already the community talk right now, but we might have one that's specifically for onboarding. I don't know, Matt will be able to talk more about where this could go. But the idea is that they go to the space where they can listen to people asking questions and basic questions and ask their questions and start getting their head around of what all of this is. You then again will take a quiz, and then with that quiz, you'll be able to move to level 3. So really level 1 and 2 you should be able to quickly go through that if you have the knowledge. And if you don't, maybe a day or so, you move to level 3. Any feedback or questions around level 2?
How do I like right now I feel super dumb, so it's probably a good time for me to ask to be in the server. I don't understand how do I level up to level 3. Like I just see this channel, but it doesn't really jump out to me as, oh, this is how you go to level 3.
Yeah, so the leveling right now, the dream is that once you take the quiz and pass it, you automatically level up.
No, but
right
I mean,
now,
what I don't understand immediately after 2 levels that I have to take a quiz to do the 3rd one. Is it like the channel that sort of jumps out to me if I know that there are quests is like to start your quest? So this is start your quest is like when okay.
Yeah, the idea of the start of your quest channel is that ideally it'd be nice to just have a checklist, right? So look, these are the quests, these are the things we recommend you do, and the user could check through them. As simple as that sound, I didn't find a bot that did that. So we're using these reaction rows that don't really react for you to be able to keep track of the quests you're doing at each level. And the idea is that by following the start your quest channels that will change every time you level up. So at level 3, it will say 3, start your quest, so forth and so on. You'll take a quiz at the end, and that quiz is what levels.
So after I tick all the boxes, I should be sent some kind of a quiz link. That's the idea, right?
Yeah, we don't have the technical solution yet, but that's the plan. We don't even have the quizzes ready either. But you will take a quiz.
Yeah, but now it makes sense. So first it asks me to check everything, and I check everything, and then there is a quiz, so people don't just tick everything and go on. So there is like a real level up.
It's like a filter.
Yeah. Cool. Now I get it.
About this as well is we don't see any benefit of you cheating the system as well. So right now, for this first iteration, we're not that worried in terms of verifying that people have gone through the steps. Because if you come into the community and you don't know this stuff, by the time you get to go to the task board, you'll be pretty lost.
No, absolutely. I'm not pushing for, oh yeah, we need to test people. It's quite the opposite. We offered you a possibility to go through this checklist, And if you like lied about it, then it's your problem, and then you can get wrecked. We're just trying to help.
Yeah, it's on you. And some people, and this was the feedback from one of the conversations, I think Damien said this, is like, I wouldn't want to be led through any path. I like to get into communities, talk to people. He's come out of this guerrilla warfare mode where he just jumps, talks to people, learns stuff, and he likes it that way. And that's fine too. You'll be able to pass the quizzes and off he goes.
It's actually a good point. This quiz is not a test. It's just for people to feel confident whether they actually understood it. So we're not testing anyone. It's almost like we could even maybe write it in the pinned messages themselves. That this is not a test like at school that we want to test you. This is just like for your own benefit.
Yeah, we'll call something that is more friendly than the quiz. That's good feedback. So anybody else, any questions about level 2? Okay, then let's boost everyone to level 3. Remember, guys, to jump out and back in.
Is there anyone I haven't done?
Yeah.
No, I'm doing it. I do it manually for you. We're still trying to figure out how we can get a bot to do that for us. So I'm just I'm leveling up people manually as we go along.
Okay.
Okay, guys. So level 3, the verb here before the idea was to integrate. So you're being exposed to all this knowledge, and now you need time to make that more organic. We've changed it to participate. Speaking to Naomi, it's actually one of the actions that really express what we want. So it made a lot of sense. We migrated to the verb for level 3 being participate. So here at level 3, there will be the optional quest of minting your ID and talking you through why it's worth it and what extra things you get from having your ID. We'll also want people to be voting more on influence now, attending other talks like the read or the talk for today. So we want that kind of more participation from the person at this level. And at this point is when we would want to introduce the task board, which there's a conversation there for another time of how is the task board working and is it useful the way it is right now? Are people using it? Let's imagine for a second that the task board part is all working and everyone's happy with how it works. So at this level, people would be then introduced to the task board. So that Dutch artist is at the board and seeing, oh, I can pick up this task. And through that, they're also getting more involved with the community and they're starting to earn something for their work. And it's that first step of becoming familiar with the community. At this level, we would want, after you're there for a while, that you would run together with somebody else, maybe a DAO leader or a more senior person in the community, sharing an integration session that you could talk about something that you really enjoy, that you learned, that you want to share with everyone. And you would also run kind of an onboarding session with somebody. Now, there's been some discussion around this that not everybody is extroverted enough to feel comfortable to do these things. So we talked about this being possible in other formats. So maybe people can put out a document or they can just type or work around different personalities. So there's still some work around exactly the finer details, but the idea here is that at this level, you're now participating in more talks. You've started doing some tasks for the community. Hopefully you're already getting your citizen ID and that you're going to do the sharing session and onboarding session. And then you take a quiz and you'd be ready for level 4. So questions, suggestions, feedback?
I was thinking that something crossed my mind because we did this quiz before, which was like a lot of people doing it at the same time. And I was just thinking, we're talking about here with this kind of automation, we're talking about individual quizzes when you do something and then you have this little, a bit like people do on Coursera, right? You watch this video and then some interactive stuff comes in and you do a quiz. But there could work for the introverted people to have maybe some kind of quiz that feels less as a test, but feels more as a pub quiz where people can level up at the same time. But this is more of a brain fart than any well-articulated thought. But like we could do individual quizzes, but we could also introduce some kind of a thing where people can come and do it as a
like the end of year quiz that I put together, and everyone's you're learning from your mistakes and things like that.
it's like we did a quiz. I was like half participating because I was busy with something. But the idea is that it's not just something that you do individually at your own time because you leveled up, but you can also level people up. Instead of asking people to talk in a community call, you still ask them to come all at the same time, but instead of talking, you ask them to do something else. Click on reactions and the questions appear or something. You know what I mean? Like a real-time quiz. I think, or maybe it's too much of an overhead. I don't know.
Well, probably not for the first iteration, but these kind of ideas are really cool to just plant the seed there. And when we see a way to make it work that's not too cumbersome, we implement these ideas.
I don't mean to introduce any scope creep, but it just crossed my mind. Maybe I can just like write down these ideas and share some.
Put it in feedback. There's that feedback tab on the top left there. We did discuss something like this. I had this idea where it was like, I thought it'd be interesting to have, okay, cool, you can all come do a quiz, but there's only, say, at any given time, 3,000 people sitting it, and you have to like, so some element of competition. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but yeah, I think there's something there in that sort of group exercise versus individual. I don't know. Go ahead, Gus. Sorry, carry on. Oh, does anybody have any questions, I should say, before we carry on?
You want to level this up to 4?
NFJ, what do you think?
I like it. I like the discussion around how do we level up the people that are already in the server. And I know we walked away from that, but I like hearing that type of, the ideas that spurred off that are cool, because it's just people that want to work for it will do it before we can level them up manually. So it's almost that introvert extrovert. It'll be interesting to see the dynamics of the people that use this. And yeah, everyone that worked on this, I think it was Fazraga in front, you guys did a great job. I think it's a great idea to have people in the population, but outside of the population to some degree until that trust level of being allowed to be in the population. You know, we don't want everyone that shows up that's screaming on Twitter to be able to come into the workplace. So that this is a really great place for that. His screams wouldn't get him any further up the levels.
Right.
Yeah, nice.
Like that moral outrage, not moral outrage, but just when Lambo shit, all that.
Yeah, the when is this going to moon?
Shilling Ripple,
like,
Shilling Ripple.
Yeah,
sends you to like Ripple website or something, and that's it.
Yeah, we'll rickroll those people.
Is everybody done? Have I upgraded everybody? Are you all level 4? If you look at your quest log on the left-hand side, can you see 4 start your quest?
I'm there.
Oh, that's great. I like that too,
Yeah,
to see what level you're on.
Yeah, just one last thing about level 3 is that you will also get the off topics, the reads and reading club channels available to you. So this is still a level 3. So let's go to level 4. So the verb here for level 4 is specialize. And here's a new selection that you'll make in the preferences. And this is starting to think about where you want your future with finance.vote to be. So one idea, and let's not get stuck around the actual wording. This is just placeholder wordings. So SME is the idea of a subject matter expert. So that Dutch artist might be really happy and now at level 4 taking like the more advanced and complex tasks that are available for art, because now not only he understands art or she understands art, but they're also now in a place that they understand how the community works and how to best use that art for whatever project they're on. So maybe this is as far as they want to go in terms of responsibilities within the community. So you would say, hey, I want to be a subject matter expert. Or maybe you're interested in leadership, so you'll flag that you want to learn more about leadership and DAO leader, or a builder, which is the idea that you're going to apply for a grant and actually build your own thing. But this is just flagging intention at this point. So the expectation here is that you're now supporting other members and you are attending talks of the future of work, reading clubs, strategy calls, imagination time, DAO with strangers. You're taking on more advanced tasks. And this is pretty much it. As the verb suggests, you're specializing in the areas of your interest to reach this level that you're now one of the experts in the community. The idea is also that now towards the end of this, for the quiz, you also have a one-to-one with the DAO leader of your area of interest to be able to discuss this kind of flagging of just, I want to become this expert and stay this expert, or where do I go for the leadership, or how do I go about building? So it's getting a one-to-one time with a DAO leader and feedback also on your work and how you're doing with the community, and you give feedback. We thought this might be a good place to introduce that.
I've thought more about this one-on-one thing, and I don't think it's going to work. It's not scalable. And in the beginning, it might be fine, but I think there will be a time in the calendar where this will be the topic of conversation, and those people who are interested in discussing that can come and discuss that. You don't have to talk in the voice. You can just write things in the chat and ask questions and stuff if you don't want to talk. But I think it would be a one-to-many conversation, if that makes sense, or one or two or three, whatever DAO leaders are there. And then you've got as many people that want to talk about what their intentions are that join the chat. That's more scalable.
Yeah, for sure.
Otherwise, you spend all day doing that. It'd be brutal.
That's a good problem to have. If
It's
that's
a good problem to
you're
have.
having.
Normally, busy servers, you get like an open voice channel where total randos talk about their shit. And you can't even do anything about it, or it's a good sign. And then you have more focused sessions, so people maybe don't complain if they can't talk one-to-many sessions, because they just go and chat in a chat room. It's like a lobby, right? Like you go to a conference, you go listen to a talk, and then you go outside and drink coffee and talk to everyone.
Any questions or comments or?
So
Okay, then.
basically, from what I understand, this server is like a place for, say, coordinating, like work, for example, like campaign.
Sorry, dude. I think I'm not sure if you cut out there, but yeah, essentially, yes. If you said it's a place for kind of coordinating work, yeah, essentially.
Is that what it is? Like you have a campaign, people level up, and then they end FET. Because that's
Right.
what I pulled out.
Which level we're supposed to be in now? 4? I'm in 3, I think, because it says 3 start your quest.
So while we're fixing the
Fixed.
levels, and are we ready to move to level 5?
Cool. Because I didn't have to get out of the server. I could actually see new things opening real time. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so there was some discussion, and we don't have a final decision in terms of rewarding people with some FETs. They're leveling up so that they could possibly mint their ID, but there's some concerns.
I think we will do it, Gus. It's just a question of how do we structure it. So it will be a thing. Whether they'll be able to mint their ID or not is another thing altogether, because the price of the ID, although it's flat now,
It can fluctuate.
Yeah, so it will be, they'll have an allocation of FET in bank, but whether that's enough for them to draw that down and mint an ID, there's another thing altogether.
But how would you keep from people just creating multiple accounts and just farming to get the FETs?
Well, firstly, you can't, right? Like that's just the nature of permissionless systems. But you have to remember, bank's a really clever system. So if you've got 100 FET in bank, but you want to draw it out today, no problem, but you're only going to get 20. Because it's a cliff vesting thing. But if you're willing to wait for the total vesting period, which is, let's say, 6 months, a year, whatever, then you can get 100% of your allocation out.
Gotcha.
So what bank does is it protects the token price from like people just farming and then dumping, or like VCs getting the allocation and then the day they can sell them, selling them and crashing the token price. Like it stops that from happening.
Okay, cool. So any more feedback around level 4? Can we move to 5? Okay, awesome. So the virtual level 5 is still up in the air. It used to be graduating, but I'm thinking it could be more contributing or collaborating or representing, because the nature of level 5 changed to be like a continuous thing. So the idea now, once you reach level 5, you are that subject matter expert. So really what we want from level 5 is that you're doing certain things so you maintain your level 5. This way, if you see a level 5, you know that they're not only they've got the expertise, they've done the journey, but they're actually active in the community. And what does that mean, active? It means that they're voting on influence. It means they're completing advanced tasks. They're attending the talks. They're now creating tasks. They're doing peer reviews. And they're also running like domain-specific Q&As. So like this person is now massively contributing to the community on an ongoing fashion. So this is why the verb is going to be somewhere around contributing or continuous contribution. That's no longer just a verb. I don't know. We'll have to nail that down. But so the idea is that once now you're a level 5, you are that subject matter expert. And then from there, we've not developed further, but it would be about rebuilding the road to DAO leader, which probably will involve a lot of what happens with the Masters in DAO course and the builder that we have not even started to discuss. But I wouldn't doubt that Matt has some ideas already about how that would work. But for this project, we're stopping here at level 5. So the idea is that the server would be organized with level 1s through 5, and then other roles get added on that. If you're a SHERP, if you're all the kind of roles that already exist that we would want to maintain, they can still be added on top of that. But the level 1 through 5, you only have one of those, and that will display where you're at in terms of your engagement with the community. Yeah, so the extra things that open at level 5 is the creating tasks and the peer reviews. And there was some talk also about some airdrop bonus incentives, or maybe not incentives, but rewards for people that are putting that level of commitment towards the community.
Sorry, I had to leave, guys. I'm back. And Ksenia, I think that this structure that Gus just described could be used to inspire us to do the data DAO discussion.
I was exactly thinking the same, because what I'm thinking about this server from level 1 to level 5, this can be almost like automated, right? When we move further to like more complexity and more trust, we might actually not want to try to automate it, because then it becomes like, for instance, when Alice started doing stuff, the first thing she comes to me and she says, "Can you give me permissions to give permissions?" And so, because Discord was not built for DAOs, when people are leveling up, like in education, there is this thing called each one teach one. It's like a methodology where you learn something and then you teach someone. So I think from level 1 to level 5, it seems to me that it's really smooth filtering out of like people who puke on voice channels because they think it's funny, to someone, okay, we're kind of real sentients and we're interested in this shit. We're serious. And then after that, it might not be actually possible to completely exclude this manual. You're gonna just you just end up talking to someone in DM, and then you're gonna talk to other people and say, actually, I think this person needs to be added to this role. You see where I'm going with this? Is, for instance, with data scientists. Like, I'm pretty convinced that, for instance, even if someone comes and says, I'm a data scientist, I do a lot of data science, here, look at my data science, adding them to the data science role, it's pointless because they didn't do any data science for FBT. But once they did something, then they're added. But this process can be really complex. You know what I mean? So maybe the level 5 and 6, it gets up to some kind of, it's not just, I don't know what I'm saying, just, I don't know to which extent we can automate complexity there and whether it's actually necessary, because then, yeah, anyway, I guess I made my point.
I think that I like what you're saying, but I think that for the most part, additional roles will involve some mini DAO, and I think the mini DAO will want to figure out how they want to
Exactly
offer that role.
It's like this is where we start decentralizing. There is one pipeline, and then everyone goes through it, and it's a little bit dehumanizing, but it scales.
It's upskilling, I think, is the way to think about this. We're helping people upskill.
So
they're
looking
really
at Discord,
if they already have the skills, like if you already at a certain level, you're not upskilling, you're just going through it to go.
So on the fringe cases, right? So because what we're talking about is edge cases, right? And with the edge case, if someone comes in and says, I'm a data scientist, this is what I do, we go, cool, okay, here's some data sets, go do something with it. And then if they come back and they do some amazing work, go, cool, okay, well, you can bypass all the dungeons and you can come straight to this chat. Like,
okay.
I just think you just keep it that simple, right?
Yeah, this is what I'm saying, but it gets like you still have some kind of fringe case where there is a relationship with an admin and then someone amazing comes your way and you vouch for them. So it's an organic overlay because this is how things really work. Like every party has a guest list because you're the DJ and he thinks you're cool for some reason. And it's certain degree, could be certain degree of like individual sympathy on nepotism as well in it. Or maybe sometimes it's for real and it's like your real knowledge. But yeah, anyway,
So I
from
think
level 5, it seems like this is where it gets messy and organic and complicated and more human.
I don't know that it's messy. I think that's just it's gonna. By this time, let's go back to the Dutch artist. So this Dutch artist is now a level 5. He or she probably knows already the big players within this art DAO, and has been working with them, and so you know these people by now. So any extra roles that would have needed, he probably or she probably would have learned and earned these roles as they were progressing in more complex tasks. So organically, these other roles, as you're getting immersed in the community, you'll start getting them. And you're right, it's going to be manual. It's going to be because the community realizes that you're the real deal and that you're a contributor, and the community will want you to have those roles. So I don't think it's going to be that complex. It's just for the new DAOs that haven't had the discussion of how they want to go around these permissions and these roles. They'll need to have that talk.
But I think we're going in a slightly tangential direction, given discussing here, but we've been at this for an hour and quite a while now, and we've got the next call in not too long, and I have to actually do a bit of work in the meantime. So I think it's a good time to get final feedback from people and get final thoughts and suggestions and stuff. And if you guys have any feedback on the server, you're welcome to come back anytime you want and write feedback in the feedback thing on the left-hand side there. But if there's any comments or feedback that you want to give now on what you've seen so far, or any concerns or anything, now is a good time to if you want to talk about them, now's a good time to talk about.
I'm just really impressed with all this thinking and the work you've done so far. Even though it seems like I'm rambling and complaining about things, I think it's really amazing where you're going with it.
Yeah, I agree. I think you said it earlier, how to get a minimum viable product, and I think this is above that. This is not just minimum. This is a lot of work, and I know there will be more discussion on the leveling and whatnot. And I think we have a lot of exceptional people. So sometimes exceptional people show up at what level is that? That might be 10 or 20 or 80. But great work, everyone. It's really, and I love the story that you're telling with the Dutch artist. I think the story really helps pull people through these paths and portals we want them to go through to educate themselves.
Sweet, guys. So if later on you're in the shower and an awesome idea pops in, either reach out to us, or you have now access to the server, you can hop in on that feedback channel, which is just temporary now for this. It won't be in the official one, but it's there for now. Yeah, and we're putting lots of work and thought around this, and there are no silly questions or comments. So anything that you guys think of, just throw it our way.
Do you have a sort of, not to take your hard work, a base structure of and we can connect later. In the map, the pretend map I'm making right now, I could do one for this server as well, because it's the same type of thing. We're going to transfer some of those channels, but if you need specific ones, I can add a tab for that. And we can start that list too, to keep that together if you guys would like that asset of a map.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay, great. Yeah, and we can connect.
And at some point, when we start talking about the flavor of this, one of the ideas is to work with portals. We can also have talks around the artwork for some of this stuff.
The spreadsheet that we put together in the beginning of all of this bits and pieces, is that up to date in terms of what we've built versus what we had in the spreadsheet?
There's some small edits to be done, but yeah, for the most part it is. I was using it now as we ran through it.
I don't know if that would help NFTA then with what she's doing on that side. It might be easier for to look at that than to look at Discord to figure out the.
I'll send her the link.
Nice.
Thank you. And I'm going to put the map link in the Sherpa channel for people to look at and begin to see the direction that we're going for.
On the main Discord server, there's a gamification channel that if you feel somehow more comfortable writing there, go for it.
Thank you. I like that channel.
So it's on the Ben Urich just posted there on the feedback, the link for the Google Sheet.
Thank you.
Matt, after the next call, if you have some time, I've done some analysis on the Imagine DAO votes. I wanted to share that with you.
Yeah, sure. I have a call after the. Sorry, I have a call after the next call, and then I'll be free after that. So I'll drop you a message when I'm done.
Yeah, drop me a message.
I'm gonna jump off as well. Thanks, guys. Sorry I was rambling a bit, but it was really great to see what you're doing.
You don't have to apologize for rambling. Discord. Thank you.
Good job, Gus. Always love to see your work, buddy.
Our work, yeah. Everyone's on it.